Star did her best, but there were few professional options in Davis, and none she could afford outside Davis. And so Joey suffered what Star and Justin believed to be a treatable debilitation, a fact that haunted them both. Joey now burst into the house with this news. My friend Bobby said you saved his brother Ben and beat up that cave dweller bully. Justin shrugged. Despite Joey's urging, he wouldn't talk about it. He didn't want Joey to become violent like him. Then tell me the cave story, Joey said. Again? Not now, Joey. Please. Justin sighed, took Plato's Republic from the little bookshelf, opened it to the cave myth, and abridged it as follows in the dramatic voice Joey loved. Behold, human beings lived in an underground cave. Here they have been from childhood, with their legs and necks chained so they can only see in front of them. Far behind them, a fire blazes, and they see only their own shadows or each other's shadows, which the fire throws on the cave wall in front of them. To these prisoners, life is nothing but the shadows of the images. With their necks chained, they can't even turn to see themselves or each other. And when any prisoner is freed, he leaves the cave, and outside, his eye turns to a greater reality. But he must grow accustomed to the sun's light, to the sight of the upper world. And when his eyes see that greater world, he remembers his old home in the cave, pities his fellow prisoners, and says, better to endure anything than to think and live as they do. This is the upward journey of the soul. Joey applauded, but the truth here was that having thrilled his brother for years with stories of other worlds and life outside the cave, Justin no longer believed in such things. After the murder, terms like cave dweller became more rhetorical weapons used to ridicule and dismiss antagonists. There was no other world, nothing beyond the dark cave of this world. Joey said, you got kicked out of school. What are you talking about? Come on, everybody knows. It's no big deal, Justin said. I can go back if I write a stupid letter to the stupid superintendent, but I'm tired of Davis. I may just leave. Joey turned white, grabbed Justin's arm as if to physically restrain him, and begged, don't leave. Okay, I'm not leaving. I was just saying that. Now get ready for soccer practice. Steve's mom is picking you up. Despite his depression, Joey tried to follow his brother by playing sports. Coaches allowed him on the team, though he rarely played in games. Today, however, Joey had no interest in sports. I want to stay for your birthday, he told Justin. Can we have a party, please? I don't want a party. You think I would invite anyone to this dump? Besides, I already have my own party at school. Now get ready. We're not trailer trash, are we? What did you say, Joey? One of the kids said I was trailer trash. Teach me to fight so I can make him eat his words. Forget it. Just get ready. Have a party with me, just me and Mom. Joey, enough, please. Joey soon left, and minutes later, Justin heard his mother's old car limp and wheeze into the dirt driveway. She walked in with a cake box in one arm and a wrapped gift in the other. I got some things for your birthday, she said with a smile. Justin knew the indignities and physical hardships she endured at work to buy these things, not to speak of the humiliation dealt to her by those who had always envied her education and wealth. It was these people who hired her to clean their houses or watch their children for no other purpose than to demean a lady who had once stood so far above them. This, above all, disturbed him greatly. He could not tolerate that she did it for him, though he knew it was an act of love. And the very idea of celebrating at a time like this aggravated him beyond his endurance. I told you, he said, no party. Right, no party. It's just us. When Joey comes back, the three of us will do nothing. Don't you ever listen to what I say? He shouted. He hated himself as he spoke, but he couldn't stop. Look, his voice rose with agitation. I don't want a cake, and I don't want a gift. I know you mean well, but I don't want to be here on this planet. I'm messed up. I'm just a freak out of a psychology book. Justin, that's not true at all, and don't shout at me, his mother said. It is true, he shouted, and take back the cake and the gift. His mother placed both items on the table, went to her room, slammed the door, and began to cry. This was bad. She never cried. A sound startled him. He turned. Oh, God. Joey stood there staring in disbelief. Justin never shouted at his mother in front of Joey. What are you doing here? Justin asked, sick with guilt. Joey spoke in a suffering voice. Coach is sick. There's no practice. What did you hear just now? Everything. He ran to his room and slammed the door. Justin knocked, but Joey told him to go away. Justin said, all right, don't talk to me. Maybe I will go away and you'll never see me again. The lock turned and the door cracked open. Don't go. Justin entered the room. Joey cried out in fear. Are you leaving? Seeing Joey's little body tremble and the tears gliding down his freckled cheeks, Justin rushed to him, picked him up in his arms, and held him tight, saying, No, I'm not leaving. I'm going to the falls. Look, I love you, and I'm never going to leave you, but I need a little time to think. I'll be back late. Just do your homework or something. Don't wait up. Justin placed him gently down, but seeing that Joey still breathed heavily, Justin said, Joey, I said I'm coming back, okay? Joey nodded. Okay. Justin had long ago made clear to his family that when he went to the falls, he needed to be alone. He walked past his mother's door, intending to leave, but her phone rang and he stopped to listen. She said, Hello? Oh, hello, Dr. Olson. How are you? What? Justin suspended? But why? Justin ran out the door. He ran for miles till he reached Blackwater Falls. His heart ached. He hurled stones into the seething waters, tried with the usual futility to think of a plan to save the Davis family, remembered his father, and wept bitterly. Justin went home by starlight. He wore daggers on his belt, daring the bears and wildcats lurking in the dense, dark woods. He reached the trailer and waited outside in the cold till the lights went off. He was in no mood to explain anything to anyone. In the small, shabby space his mother called a living room, he found the untasted cake with 15 unlit candles set on his mother's best platter. A neatly wrapped gift with fine ribbon and bow lay neglected and expectant. No gift could help him, but he took it in his hands. Obviously, a book. Probably a self-help book, full of the same canned wisdom found in greeting cards and newspaper astrology. Still, it came from the only people in the world who truly loved him. He slid off the ribbon and removed the wrapping paper without tearing it. It was a book, a strange book, the first Avatar. I don't need this, he thought. I already saw the Avatar movie, and this book doesn't even spell the word right. They put an A at the end, Avatara. His mother had tried many times to take him to the bookstore in Elkins, or to let her read to him from the books he used to like, and now this. How could she think that books like this could still interest him? He looked down at it. On the cover, a handsome young prince with large eyes and rain cloud blue skin walked through a tall forest. This, Justin presumed, was the first Avatar. Sages in saffron robes watched and admired him. Among them, a fair young female sage caught his eye with her soft but stern features. The Avatar's world was crafted of bright, clear colors and peopled by beautiful men and women. Justin gave a soft, cynical laugh. It was like the heroic, elegant world he dreamed of as a child, the world he rejected as a cruel fiction the night of the tragedy. Once he had yearned to be a hero, a true prince in a magical world. Now that vision angered him by its cruel impossibility. He shut the book and replaced it on the table. But it could not stay there. It was a gift from his family. He picked it up again and read the cover flaps. The handsome, striding prince on the cover was indeed the Avatar. His name was Krishna. Perhaps it was the late hour or the dim light, but when Justin stared at Krishna, Krishna stared back. Justin wondered if he had gone mad in his depression. He looked again. So did Krishna. He put down the book and breathed deeply. He looked around the room, wretched but familiar with its bending walls and collapsing furniture. The spell broke. A mere storybook could not spook Justin Davis. And it was a birthday gift from his mother, for God's sake. He forced a whispered laugh. To complete his conquest of irrational fear, he looked back at the book. Krishna looked back at him, this time seeming to invite him to enter through the book's cover into an uncanny, luminous world. As he often did, Justin summoned courage with irreverence. Well, Mr. Avatar, since I'm not going to your world, let me be the first to welcome you to Davis, West Virginia. A voice spoke in reply, not the voice of Krishna, but of Joey, who came in pajamas, rubbing his eyes. Who are you talking to? He asked. Nobody. I was just talking to myself. Sounded like you were talking to someone. Joey, go back to sleep. What's that? Is that what Mom got you? Yes. I want to see it. She wouldn't let me see it till you did. Justin shook his head. Go back to bed. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. Joey shook his head and took the book in his hands. I like the picture, he said, eyeing Krishna. It looks like he's really there. Were you talking to the picture? Are you crazy, Joey? But he's looking at us. Tell me about the book. I haven't read it. Read it to me. All right, for 1 minute, and then you're going to bed. Justin read. Long ago, in time beyond memory, dark Asura forces attacked Bhuloka and threatened to enslave its inhabitants. At the darkest hour, Krishna, the first avatar, descended to the planet of Bhuloka and fought the Asuras. Centuries passed, then millennia, till history decayed into legend, legend into myth. Now, sadly, that world has forgotten how the first avatar fought to save it. This book will remind the people of Bhuloka how Krishna fought to save them. By reading this book, the people of Bhuloka will take courage and strive with the Avatar's help to save their planet. For once again, the world is gravely threatened. Did that really happen? Joey asked. Did Krishna fight to save Bhuloka? Is Bhuloka a real planet? Justin rolled his eyes. I don't want to pop your bubble, Joey, but this particular literary genre is called fable, mythology, an imaginary story. There is no Bhuloka. But the book said it's not a myth. What if Krishna really fought for that world and they all forgot? Anyway, why did Mom get you this book? We never talk about warriors anymore. I have no idea. We'll have to ask her. Read more. Joey squeezed his arm. Just a few more words and you're going to bed, Justin said. He read, learn from this eternal classic how you can awaken your real power and know your real self as you assist the Avatar. We are confident that you will be delighted with your choice. Let's do it, Joey said. Let's go to Bhuloka. We'll bring Mom. Joey, no more fairy tales, please. Don't you see they want to sell us something? It sounds like a car commercial. I can't believe Mom got this for me. Watch, at the end of the book, they'll try to sell me an Avatar computer game where I save the world. Pathetic and such hyperbole. Eternal classic. Not cool. One more sentence, Joey begged. Justin read, to fully participate in this unique adventure, You must learn the contents of this book from an authorized teacher. Don't you see, Justin said, they want our money, so they'll sell us a course with a so-called teacher. This is all crazy. I'm going to bed. But what if these people need our help? You could fix things, Justin. The world can't be fixed, Joey. But who is that girl? She looks so smart. I don't know. That's it. Justin closed the book, picked up his brother, carried him to his room, and gently placed him in his bed. Then he grabbed his book, put it on the remnant of his nightstand, and lay brooding in bed. He could not get the cover out of his mind. The girl, too, was lifelike. Good artwork, he admitted. Justin closed his eyes, but still saw Krishna watching him. The girl sage turned and noticed him. Her beauty haunted him. It might be nice to live in a world like that. Anything to escape this miserable, boring earth. With such thoughts in his mind, he grew drowsy and fell fast asleep. He slept until a hand touched his shoulder and woke him. He yawned and rubbed his eyes. Why did his mother wake him? Did she forget that he was suspended from school? He opened his eyes. He was in the forest. Who had carried him out of the house? Who woke him? Where were Joey and his mother? Were they all right? The forest was lush and tropical, with waving banana leaves and palm fronds and big, bright flowers of every hue. He must have been drugged, kidnapped, and flown to Latin America. How else could he be here? His father's killers had done this, but how did they do it without waking him? He must find a weapon to defend himself. A stick, a rock, anything.
Wow. Chapter 5. Ay, 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 ay. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, who wants to speak first? Share anything, your thoughts, your ideas, your questions, anything. Thank you for reading so beautifully, Barista. Thank you so much. Anybody? No comments? They don't want to speak sometimes because the English is not so great or what? Speak anyway, don't worry about it. We're practicing all here. Look, I'm speaking not very good English myself, but very interesting, no? It just happened. What do you think it happened? Anybody give me a clue? What do you think? He's dreaming, he got kidnapped, he's in South America, anybody? Barista knows the book, so he can answer. And Rama knows the book. So here's Rumini and Sophie. Tell me what you think. Want to say something? Idea? No volunteers. Okay, I won't put you in a spot anymore. When Rama is at her house, she will talk. But she also knows the story. Karana, you know the story also? Can you hear? You? I know you lost some of the, you got disconnected. No? Barista, you want to say something?
Because this is the third time I'm reading it, I'm appreciating more the literary devices that Acharya Dev used. Very artful, very subtle. And I think the part that I find especially well done is the way Justin reacts to women, girls his age. In modern culture nowadays, it's very vulgar and overt and in your face. And, back in the good old days, it was much more subtle and polite and civilized. And so Acharya Dev is, sort of renewing that subtle art of describing how men and women think about each other or feel about each other in a very civilized and polite way. And just a couple phrases from chapter 5. One sentence he wrote, her beauty haunted him. It's very subtle, but, he's a 15-year-old kid, hormones are raging. And so the way he does it is I just like the way he did it. It's very subtle.
Very good point. Yes, yes, I like that.
Another phrase is that, he was thinking to himself, the girl on the cover of the book was lifelike, and he thought to himself, good artwork. Instead of saying something vulgar like, wow, she had an hourglass figure, or something even worse, Justin thought to himself, good artwork. Again, very subtle way of saying, wow, I think she's hot.
Yeah, very classic, very, very stylish. Yeah, very nice. I like this part, which I think is good. I'm going to put it for next book club, maybe on Instagram or something. Long ago, in time beyond memory. And then he tells about the story. And then when you hear Acharya speaking about the Mahabharata in a lecture, he talks about this example of how people imagine now we are using computers and this and the other, and it becomes a big collapse, wars or whatever, and everything got lost. And one day somebody finds a laptop which is working, and then, they think this is mythology, or, they think something is like, basically the realities we live now, they take as mythology because they're so far from when they are there right now, they can connect with it. And so when I read this part, this sentence, I put it here again, the world has forgotten the first avatar, because for me, that was like, yeah, of course, if something happened, and a lot of years, we're talking more than 5,000 years ago, things happen, people think, oh, this is mythology. It's easy to think because it's so far from our reality, we can connect. So when I read that, I read it I listened to with a different eye, with a different like ear, I would say. Thank you, Barista. Thank you. Rama made it home. Take a big breath, drink some water, and Barista can read a little bit more until calm down.
I just wanted to share. I just wanted to say, this was the first time that I've listened to the reading when I've been like driving. Like, it sounds different when you're listening to it like through a different type of audio instead of through like the laptop. Barista Prabhu, you have the most professional reading voice. Like, it sounded like I was listening on like Audible. It was so good. Like, if we get somebody to read like for this, like for publication for an audio version, Barista, you're the person for the job, because I was like, wow, this sounds really good. I mean, I'm serious. I just wanted to say that. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you for your sentiments. Thank you so much.
All right. I think Karana wanted to say something also, and then we move to next chapter. Karana, you want to say something?
Oh no, it's Jiva Pavana Das here. I heard you call her name, and we're driving. I dropped her off. I'm still listening, and I just wanted to say that she's she's not here. That's why she didn't answer.
All right, no problem. I was just trying to say if you wanted to say something about what were you hearing. It's harder when you're driving, like you say. But anyway,
yeah, I can't really talk. So.
Okay, no problem. All right, we move to the next chapter. You want to read a little bit, and then when Rama is ready, we listen from her.
Who, me?
Yes. I don't know. Between you and Rama, so you guys decide. I don't know. Rama was running from work.
Well, Rama, tell me when you're ready.
I'm not ever going to be ready now, because your reading is so good. Like,
oh no,
it's so good. It just.
But it's good to hear from different voices. It's
like
good.
Next level. Really, Versta, your reading is next level. I'm serious. It's really good. Anyone who's listening from their car or from their different type of audio, I know they hear it also. Really good.
All right.
Well, I'll read a little bit, but when I stop, you have to take over, Rama.
Okay.
All right, chapter 6. Justin jumped to his feet and hit his head on a low-hanging mango. He cried out and rubbed his head. There are no mango trees in West Virginia. Where was he? He rubbed his eyes, trying to wake up, but assiduous eye rubbing and head shaking did not return him to Davis, West Virginia. Confused, he reached into a little pond to his side and ladled water into his eyes. That did not bring him back to Davis. but it did show him his own reflection in the water. He saw a handsome face, all that he could wish for in personal beauty. It just wasn't exactly the face of Justin Davis. The skin was slightly darker. The hair was darker. The eyes were large and bright. He looked down at his body and saw he was dressed in red silk with a gold crest. A sword and assorted knives hung from a jeweled belt. He stood in an emerald green meadow, canopied by a deep blue sky. Balmy breezes made palm fronds wave and wildflowers caper. My poor dear prince, came a lady's amused voice. He turned to face a remarkably lovely young lady who smiled affectionately at him. You were sleeping so long, she continued. I had to wake you. I'm sorry that mean mango attacked you. She laughed gaily. Yes, it did, he said, frantically trying to understand where he was and how he got here. This was definitely not West Virginia. Clearly, this lovely girl thought she knew him well. He considered what to do with rapid and rational calculations. He must conceal his confusion till he knew more about this place and how to get back home to West Virginia. Anyway, the girl said, smiling, wherever you went in your dreams, welcome back to Buloka. Buloka? This was impossible. Buloka was a name in a storybook. He must wake up and get back to his family. But the girl spoke as if that life in Davis was a dream. Welcome back? He asked. Where was I? The girl was amused by what she clearly considered to be his feigned confusion. You were dreaming of another place, my dear prince, my poor Prince Jaya. Prince Jaya. Yes, you, Prince Jaya. And I am your beloved princess, Suvarna. Do you always joke? Or did the mango really scramble your head? Excellent question, he replied with a sudden pleasing sensation that he knew this girl. Of course, Suvarna. He remembered her. He knew her. But how was that possible? It was all like a dream, yet Justin felt as if waking from a dream, as if he really were Prince Jaya. For now, he would play the part, lest he go mad. Well, well, he said, matching Suvarna's playful tone. So this is Buloka, the land of the Avatar. Now that is a hotly debated topic, she said, whether there really is an Avatar or not. And if there is, whether he really is coming to our planet. That's right, Prince Jaya said, for he must act as Prince Jaya for now, as he continued to remember this world. Some deny the Avatar, others accept him as real. What do you think, Suvarna? I don't know. Do you? She asked in a light but challenging tone. No, I don't know. He was hardly going to tell her that he read about the Avatar in a book in West Virginia. He intuited that he could not mix the two worlds. Justin, or Prince Jaya, feared that despite his high status in this world and its genteel civility, one wrong word might arouse suspicion and possibly endanger himself. He must not convince these people he was mad, or an alien who possessed the real prince's body. The result could be deadly. For now, he must play his part here. Hollywood had prepared him for this situation. He'd seen so many movies where a hero from another dimension suddenly awakes on Earth, usually in Manhattan, and stupidly keeps telling everyone, I'm not from here, though no one believes it, and they are about to lock up the hero in a psychiatric facility. No, he must play it smart. He must convince everyone around him that he was Prince Jaya. He could not imagine the consequences if he failed in his performance. And despite the familiarity of this fabulous world, he was desperate to find a way home to West Virginia. His mother and brother must have already discovered his absence. What would the shock do to them? Both were still weak and sickly from the loss of a husband and father. If Justin did not find a way back to them, his mother and brother might not survive the shock. The very thought made his heart tremble. But how? He must understand his relationship to this world, how he got here, and how to escape. Was he an alien here? If so, why did he increasingly remember this world, its people, and his place in it, as if he were awakening from a dream? Indeed, this world precisely matched the higher world he envisioned and longed for in his childhood. A terrifying question entered his mind. Was Davis, West Virginia, a dream? His family? The earth itself? But this was too shocking an idea. He would not consider it. His mind clung to the reality of his mother and brother and the world he shared with them. His quick mind came to a determined resolution. For now, he had no choice but to survive this world, but he must somehow find a way to return to his family. Every moment he was away was causing them cruel suffering. In the meantime, the beauty of this world of Suvarna threatened to overwhelm him. A fear shook his heart. What if he could not resist this world? What if it erased his memory of his real home? If this was ultimately a dream, it promised to be a dangerously seductive, long-lasting dream. A part of Justin was thrilled with his life here as a prince, the beloved and betrothed of Suvarna. That part of him feared waking too soon if it was a dream. But could it be a trap? And he might never wake again? If so, it was a deadly trap indeed. In Buloka, he felt as if a screen were lifted from his senses, and for the first time he truly saw, tasted, heard, smelled, and touched. For the first time, he saw flawless feminine beauty. Suvarna enchanted him. He knew her. He loved her as she loved him. He had never felt such strong attachment to a girl. He prayed it was not a dream and that he would bring her back to West Virginia, as bizarre as that juxtaposition of images now seemed. Prince Jaya, as he increasingly thought of himself, now recollected that he would inherit a minor kingdom, but Princess Suvarna promised that her elderly, sonless father would add to that his larger, richer throne. In return, Prince Jaya must be strictly faithful to her. That was an absolute, perpetual condition. No problem there. Jaya was truly attached to her. Rama, could you take over?
Pretty bold. These thoughts unfurled in his mind like a riveting movie till Suvarna broke his reverie. What are you thinking of, Jaya? Of you, of course. And forgive me, he said. Forgive you for what? For my silly questions. Forgive me, and my heart is yours. But your heart is already mine. You tell me that every day. Oh, Prince, it's a lovely day, and you must help me to enjoy it. She smiled and ran away from him. He gladly ran after her as she led him through a green meadow ablaze with wildflowers. She stopped and fell, laughing on the soft earth beneath the shade of an ancient tree. He fell at her side and moved close to her. He reached for her hand. She pulled it away, laughed, and said, "Wait till we are married. It won't be long now." It would be even sooner if we didn't have to make this silly trip, he said, for he now knew everything about his situation in Buloka. Oh, yes, Suvarna agreed. If only I could embrace you now. Oh, why do we have to wait for our marriage? Yes, why? Jaya echoed. Why? Said a young man walking up to them. Because you are both respectable, civilized royalty sworn to uphold Dharma, the sacred law. Oh, Lokesha, Suvarna said, who asked you? You are supposed to be our dear friend. I certainly am, Lokesha said, laughing at his cousin's fiancé. Jaya knew Lokesha as his first cousin and his best friend, his most intimate confidant. Lokesha was not as handsome as Jaya, but he was an attractive young man. What would we do without Lokesha? Jaya asked. Don't tempt me with that question, said Suvarna, who really did love Jaya's cousin. Despite their intimacy, Jaya and Lokesha differed in many ways. Jaya was bold, Lokesha cautious, even shy. Jaya eagerly sought to enjoy the world. Lokesha was rather austere. Jaya adored Suvarna and counted the days till they could live together. Lokesha preferred a single life of study and contemplation, unusual qualities for a prince. He even declared that he would never marry. Jaya laughed at this, and Suvarna teased him. It was perhaps in their complementarity that an unbreakable bond was forged between the cousins. And for all of Jaya's grumbling, he knew he could not avoid this trip. I hate to interrupt true love, Lokesha said, but we must resume our journey. Why do I have to go up the mountain? Jaya moaned. I want to stay here with Suvarna. And you, of course. Exactly. Suvarna flashed her quick and bewitching smile. You and I both know the nearly lethal boredom you will suffer up there with some old teacher's pious lessons, but you will gladly do it to win me, your fair princess. Jaya smiled. She was right. He knew he must make this trip. In Buloka, both his father and hers insisted he follow ancient custom and learn from a teacher before he married Suvarna. Both fathers, in their youth, followed ancient custom and lived the austere life of an aesthetic student in the mountains. It builds character and strength, Jaya's father told him. I always wanted that for you, but you avoided it for years. You only think of pleasure, not discipline and duty. You will be a king someday and you must prepare. Both fathers insisted that Jaya not accept any so-called teacher, but that he follow their example and journey to the great mountains to learn from an exalted guide. Neither Suvarna nor Lokesha could accompany Jaya up the mountain, but they both chose to accompany him to its foot. Lokesha urged his cousin to remember that a king's first duty is to serve his people, and for that he must study ancient law, dharma, and ensure justice, not merely enjoy his opulence and power. Jaya acknowledged the wisdom of Lokesha's words, but continued to complain. It's a sacred duty, Lokesha said. But I have no interest. Of course I'll be a kind, just king. I don't need all this ritual. You know that this religious stuff bores me to death. Why do I have to leave Suvarna? Okay, I know, because the tradition is to go alone to the mountains. Don't tell me again. Lokesha warned, be cautious in the mountains. You know there is talk of an Asura invasion. Jaya laughed. Buloka does not look like an invaded world. There is peace and beauty everywhere. He smiled at Suvarna. Yes, Lokesha agreed, but it may not last. Asuras thrive on deceit. They may be here and we don't know it. Be careful. We still don't know if the Avatara has really come, and even if he has, whether he can defeat the Asuras. That caught Suvarna's attention. Jaya, she said, let's be serious now. I'm worried about you going alone in the mountains. There are dangerous animals. And what if you meet a powerful yogi who demands that you renounce the world as he did? What if he won't let you come back to me? Now that, Jaya said, is absurd. I would never renounce you. Believe me, I will be back as soon as possible and not 1 second later. You promise on your royal honor? Yes, with all my honor and all my heart. Well, why have we come so far? Suvarna insisted. There are teachers in our kingdoms. Suvarna, Lokesha said, you ask that question every day. I don't think the answer will change. Perhaps it won't, she snapped. But I still don't believe that Jaya must ascend the mountains to find a so-called teacher. It's all a little pompous for me. And you, Lokesha, must tolerate my asking that question just once every day. Lokesha smiled. Dear Suvarna, I do not merely tolerate you. I admire you and love you as my sister. And I tell you daily that our local teachers cannot unleash all of Jaya's powers. Only special teachers can do that. That is why Jaya's father sent him to the mountain to study with the illustrious D. Man and his celebrated wife, Charu D. No teachers in our region compare to them. It is an honor that they agreed to teach Jaya. Suvarna shook her head and turned to Jaya. My love, learn the rituals and dogma, and we can all go home. Do it quickly. As they boarded their open royal carriage, they saw handsome men and women in fine robes walking about. Jewels shone on their bodies, virtue in their faces. The gleaming sun played on distant domes of silver and gold. These fine people bowed their heads to Jaya as he passed. Look at how these good people bow their heads to me, Jaya marveled. Yes, Lokesha said, but keep your own good head bowed to the sages. May we now proceed? They resumed their journey. Whenever they stopped to let the horses rest, Jaya got down from the carriage and tried out his weapons. To his delight, he found that he possessed amazing abilities in Buloka. Eager to impress Suvarna, he pointed out an apple tree 50 yards away and shot an arrow dead center into an apple swaying in the wind. He threw daggers in rapid succession with both hands, with pinpoint accuracy. Suvarna was a warrior's daughter, and Jaya's prowess captivated her. He was not merely a normal warrior in a super world. What a fortunate birth I have in this world, he said. There is no one like you, Suvarna said. But please don't let it inflate your head. I will have to live with you. Oh, don't worry about me, Jaya laughed, bursting with pride. And he said to himself, only Tucker County could see me now. But this thought quickly led back to his dread of never returning. What if Tucker County never did see him again? But the demands on his attention were too great now to think about that. In a quieter, pensive moment, when Suvarna was resting and the two cousins sat around a campfire, Prince Jaya again thought with dread about his mother and brother. He missed them all the more for his fear of never seeing them again. How would they go on? No matter how natural and familiar his Buloka life felt to him, his life as Justin Davis was always more real in a way that Justin, operating now as Prince Jaya, could not fully understand. But to the extent that he had a most real worldly identity, it was Justin Davis of Davis, West Virginia. If he could not find a way to return to that life, he and his family might all be lost. The thought was too frightening to dwell on. For now, he must somehow accept the strange circumstance that in Buloka, he had a different father and mother and different siblings who were also somehow real. How many lives did he have? Was his love for his family and Davis a mere illusion? This thought made him shudder. He rejected the thought because it violated his deepest intuition. When they were alone, he asked Lokesha, "We have many lives, don't we?" Of course, everyone in Buloka knows that. We are not ignorant. Yet, in each life, we love the family of that life. But that's natural, Lokesha said, since in each life, We owe a special debt to that family. They are the ones who care for us in that life. After all, we are all souls, and so the universe is but a single family. Therefore, it is easy and natural to love other souls that love and care for us, even if they see us as bodies and do not see our true soul. This reply comforted Justin, or Jaya. He was more determined than ever not to forget his earthly mother, brother, and late father. He formed a resolution that at the right time and moment, he would risk asking Lokesha if he knew about Earth and how Jaya might go there. But what if he returned to a different time, a different century or millennium? If Earth time and Buloka time were not calibrated, his families might have already passed on Earth. I wonder if that's supposed to say his family instead of his families. I'm curious about the plural. Families, the possessive there. I'm curious about that. I wonder if that's a typo. These scenarios frightened him so much that Lokesha asked him if he was feeling well. Of course, he said, desperately trying to play his role. I never felt better. Yet despite these fears, the celestial beauty of Buloka began to take over his mind. He found himself eagerly looking forward to the pleasures of Buloka. He feared his power to resist total identification with this place was waning, and with it, he would lose his memory of Davis, West Virginia. For now, he must be Prince Jaya as the small group of friends continued their trek. And as he played the part, he became the part. And after some time, they reached the path up the mountain. Lokesha, Suvarna said in her last protest, it's rather silly that you and I can't go too. Dear sister, he replied, to journey alone to the teacher is ancient family tradition. Yes, Jaya added. I know. Yet another old rule. Jaya, just do your duty, Lokesha said, and we can all go home. As we agreed, Suvarna and I will wait for you in this neighboring kingdom. We have friends and allies there. The time had come. Inspecting his weapons and tightening his belt, the former Justin and present Prince Jaya bid an affectionate farewell to both Lokesha, who embraced him, and to Suvarna, who embraced him with her eyes. And with many backward glances at Suvarna, he took to the ancient trail that rose through thickly forested hills to the great mountains. Ready, Bull.
Wow.
That's a great chapter.
All the chapters are great, isn't it?
So great, I know.
So many parts, so many pieces, so many things. I will talk about, they're editing the book because they're translating into Spanish, with Marisha and Sutapa and Jaisita. And so they are also identifying some piece. Maybe they already found that before, because when they're translating, they're looking at both things. So, but anyway, I will let them know. And I highlighted some other things in here. Anybody else want to say anything? This is, for me, was very fascinating because, you know, the fact that Jaya could have any teacher, but not every teacher can unleash all the powers, no? So the same with us, we have a spiritual master, you know, we have many masters, you know, we have masters, you know, of yoga, we have masters of meditation, we have masters of statistics in my case, now we have masters of so many things. But there is a master who can unleash all your possible powers, no? Because the powers come from the soul, no? And the real powers is on the soul. I mean, even the other teachers are also given the powers from the soul because the body is a suit, no? It doesn't have anything. but the real power can be unleashed by a special teacher, no? So that for me is very, very impressive. Well, I think I missed it the first time I read it, and I read it in Spanish last time. I thought that's very important, no? He has to do sacrifices to get to this teacher, so he gets his full power. Why did he need all his power? Why did he needed all this power? Why can't have a power, be happy with Suvarna, no? Why? Question, answer, anybody? What was his mission?
Because he has to maybe fight the Asuras.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
he
that's
needs all of his powers.
he needs all the powers because he's going to be the king. He's going to inherit the kingdom, and the Asuras were in town, were like descending already, and there was like a bigger threat, so they needed more defense. Mhm. Very nice. Anyway, anybody else? I also highlight the things that you said about how Acharya talks about woman, and here he said many things about the beauty of Suvarna. It's also described very beautifully, no?
Is this kind of like a foreshadowing here when Lokesha says we still don't know if the Avatar has really come. So it's almost like he's saying there, like, we don't even know if this is real or not. Like, we don't really know, like, is he really here? Are they just saying that the Avatar is here? Like,
now nobody knows.
is it
There
not
were
true? They don't
rumors
know.
about it. There were rumors about the avatars, and there were rumors about the asuras. It's all rumors because everything seemed peaceful and calm. It's almost like when it happened with the COVID, no?
Right. Good point.
How
Yeah.
many people didn't think it was true because we didn't have anything, you know, we heard the things, we hear, and, you know, is that true? Is it somebody's making it up, and so on and so forth, you know?
Even
So
the physicians at my hospital at the beginning.
yes,
I
yes.
had physicians using the most obscene words you would not believe a doctor would be saying in the hallway in the middle of the hospital. It's so unprofessional because they totally thought the whole thing was just not real. They didn't believe it at all.
So this is, they are in this case they are getting ready for the Suras and for the Avatar. They are like thinking this is true. So they are this group of people that are not the most skeptical, but they don't know. They're not skeptical.
They're preparing, so they're intelligent because they're preparing, even if they're not sure. They're still preparing. Yeah.
Anything else about this chapter?
Everything is for Dharma. Everything is for Dharma.
And because also, you know, because they were royalty also, no?
Mm-hmm.
So they were royalty, and so they had to uphold the Dharma, and, you know, and so they had to sacrifice a lot of things, like being with each other and getting married right away, you know, they had to hold, no? And I love the part it says about the family. I love that part, and I think he says the Justin was very, I was almost highlight that part, but I don't remember where it was. Anybody remember? He said about the family, that there is many families and different, there is a family in every
oh yeah, and he was wondering about how many families do we have, like how many past lives do we have, and how do we love each one as much as the next one.
And then Acharya said, I mean, in the book it says what? That we need to love everyone because we owe to them, no?
Yeah.
That part, I don't remember which page it was. It was more. You remember that part, Barista or Rukmini?
Reads the next page.
I don't remember the page, but I remember that part. It's very beautiful.
Here, maybe. A flawless feminine, that's the part that's beautiful. And then, I don't remember the place.
So the next page. Where did it go?
Don't know.
The chapter's not that long. It's somewhere in here. I can't find it.
Me neither. But he said that we need to respect every family, no? Because they're like, we owe to them. We need to love them.
Oh,
Because
go back one page, Gandini. I wanted to point out a typographical error where it
Okay.
says yes, Locatia said. There's a missing quotation mark after the yes.
Oh, good idea. Okay.
So it should say quotation mark yes, comma, quotation mark.
Okay. I don't know what has happened here, but
It's, yeah, maybe highlight the yes, because the quotation mark has to go on the end
I
of yes.
understand. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Good eye.
Yeah, they may have found those things, but anyway, we should tell them we're reading. Anyway, I can find what he said about the family, but it's in here. Next time I find it. But it's very, I don't know how to do now. Hide. There you go. Anything else you guys want to say? Mention? No? Again, no matter how natural the family is, no. Okay, here this. Since in each, here this, I'm going to highlight it. This is it. I found it.
You found it.
Yes. In each life, we love the family of that life. That's natural. That's it. This is it. In each life, we love the family of that life. But that's natural, like I just said. Since in each life, we owe a special debt to that family. They are the ones who care for us in that life. After all, we are all souls. And so the universe is but a single family. Therefore, it is easy and natural to love other souls that love and care for us, even if they see us bodies and not see our true soul. I love that. I mean, you know, it says this reply comforted Justin and comforted Gandinius. No? What do you guys think?